Welcome to SysCloud. This demonstration is going to give you an overview of SysCloud's backup and security solutions for cloud application data. We'll focus on Google Workspace and Microsoft Office 365. So we'll go through getting started with SysCloud. In this example, we're logged in as a Google super admin, and to install the application, we'll go to our admin console. And from our admin console, we can add SysCloud as another application into our environment. Upon authenticating, the first step is setting up what we call a backup job. In creating a backup job, we're setting the scope of the backup project. So for example, we might call this domain backup. From here, we'll connect the cloud applications that we're going to be backing up. So again, we might be backing up Google Workspace as well as Office 365, and you can see some of the other applications that SysCloud supports as well. As we proceed to the next step, we'll select the cloud application, then we'll select the scope of users, and then the applications that we're going to be backing up. So from here, I can choose to back up my entire domain. I can select specific organizational units, or I can select individual users. In this example, we'll go and select our whole domain. And then we're selecting the applications. So we can choose to back up Calendar, Contacts, Gmail, Google Classroom, Google Drive, Google Sites, the legacy sites, as well as Shared Drive. We also have additional custom settings that can be configured for things like retention, as well as exclusion. So if we didn't want to back up junk email or deleted items, if we didn't want to back up certain video files in Google Drive. So we have additional options there. From there, we'll hit confirm and start our backup. Now, once the backup's been configured, the majority of the time admins will spend in the application will be in the archives page. From this menu screen, an admin can search any user across the organization and access their backups. For example, in this list here, we can see a couple of users. The first user, Bruce, we can see the username, the applications that are being backed up, how much storage is being consumed, as well as the user status. Now, this user status is reflecting the status in Google. So if the user was deleted or suspended, what's nice about SysCloud is we would still retain that user in the backup, even if they've been removed from the Google console. We'll give you more information on potential risks. This could be data that's infected with ransomware or sensitive data that's been shared out to users who shouldn't have access to it, as well as the backup status, when the backup completed and when the next backup is scheduled for. So SysCloud's backup runs every 24 hours on a daily automated schedule. We can back up to 3 times a day, which would be every 8 hours based on customer preference. Now I can click into the user and access the user's archives. So if I wanted to restore the entire drive for Bruce, I could select this checkbox right here and go and restore the entire drive. I have some other options such as exporting or forcing an on-demand backup. I can do the same for the other applications, or I can get more granular by drilling in. So in this example, we'll click into Google Drive. And we're going to see Bruce's data, and it's going to look just like a mirror image of his Google account. So on the left side, I'll see his folders, his folder structure. I'll see his most recent files and folders here. And then I can select. So if I want to restore a specific file, or if I want to go and restore data from a previous point in time, I can select this calendar, and I can go to any previous date and say, I want to restore based on the May 15th snapshot, as an example. And from there, I can select the file and I can restore back to Bruce. Or if I want to restore to another user in the organization, I have that option as well. So if Bruce left and I wanted to restore the data over to Patrick, I have that flexibility. We can also retain sharing permissions in the restore, as well as create a new folder for users to access this information. So we recommend creating a new folder by default, because this creates a copy into that folder instead of overwriting existing data that may already live in the user's drive. So this is a recommended setting. Additionally, we can export data locally and download it. And then if we wanted to go over here, we could toggle into other applications. So if I wanted to go into Bruce's Gmail, I could go in here. Again, I'm going to see all of my labels, my most recent emails, and I can select specific emails. I can select a label, or I can select the entire mailbox to restore. Same as Drive, I have the point in time option, so I can go back and restore emails how they were or how the email box looked on a particular date. So I can go back to May 10th as an example. And then lastly, we have an option to preview. So if I wanted to preview the email, I'd have the ability to do that here as an administrator. Now I can select, I can restore, I can export. We have a nice feature that allows you to export to both Mbox or PST. And then the restore is going to look very similar to what I just showed you in Google Drive, where we can go and restore to the same user, or we can restore cross user to someone else in the organization. Now, looking at some other applications in the archives, we also have support for Google Classroom and Google Shared Drive. Now, these applications work a little bit differently in that SysCloud considers them as shared applications, right? They're not tied to or owned by one particular user per se, like Gmail data or Google Drive data that's created. So if I wanted to go into Google Classroom, I would drop down here and I can see all of the classrooms for my entire domain. So I'd see the name of the classroom, the user who created it, which domain it's associated with, which teachers and students are associated with this classroom, how much storage is in the classroom status. So again, is it an active, a deleted, an archived classroom, and then the backup schedule and next scheduled backup. Now, again, if I wanted to click into a classroom, I could first restore the entire classroom, or again, I can get more granular. So I can come in here and see all of the different components of my classroom, starting with announcements. I can come in, I can select an announcement to preview it. Even if there were attachments associated with that announcement, SysCloud can also help you in recovering those. And again, we have that point in time feature. We can go back and access the data, how it was at a previous date. We can jump over to classwork. So classwork is going to show us all of our topics and our classwork that's organized just like it is in Google. And again, you can select specific assignments to go back and restore. We can go to people. We can restore teachers and students in the classroom. We'll also have our grades listed here for each student enrolled in this class. One limitation we have with grades is we don't have the ability to restore because there's no API that supports that, but we do have the ability to export. So grades will have to be exported. That's just the one limitation there. And then SysCloud will also give you visibility into the classroom as it exists in Google Drive. So when a classroom is created, a folder structure is also presented in Google Drive, and that will be available here. We'll jump over into Shared Drive now. So Shared Drive is going to operate in a very similar fashion. We're going to see all of our shared drives across our organization. Again, we'll see who created it, what domain it was associated with, what members have access to the shared drive, the status of the shared drive, as well as the backup status. From there, we can restore the entire shared drive, or again, we can get more granular and restore specific pieces of the shared drive. So if I want to restore a certain item, I can come in here. What's pretty neat is that you have the ability to restore to the same shared drive, or you can actually restore to a different shared drive. So we have what's called a cross shared drive restore. Additionally, you could go and restore to a user's My Drive. So we could take data from a shared drive and restore it to an individual user's drive. So when a restore or export has been initiated, the jobs page, or my apologies, the reports page is where you would go to see the progress of that action. All right, so if I went in here, if Bruce was an admin, went and restored data, maybe he's restoring data from Bruce's account over to Kevin's account, we can see the success and how long it took for this process to complete. Now, if you're restoring a few items, it's typically going to take a matter of minutes. If you're restoring thousands of items, it can take more time, dependent on the complexity, right? Depending on how large the items are, the complexity of the folder structure, the complexity of the sharing permissions, right? For SysCloud to put all of those back in place. So we have reports for both restore and export, as well as reports for some of the compliance incidents that we're identifying, which I'll talk more about in a second. Additionally, you'll have a settings page here. You'll have a Cloud Connection Center. Cloud Connection Center allows you to connect additional cloud applications. Account management. This is just presenting you with information as to who the account holder is, where how the account was set up within SysCloud. Access management. is very important. This is where you're setting roles, right? So anyone who's a super administrator in Google or a global administrator in Microsoft will automatically inherit that same permission in SysCloud. But what's nice with our tool is you can go in and customize access. So we could say, you know, this user Patrick, for example, we want to go in and customize what level of admin access he has, right? So maybe he can only manage our Google Workspace domain, and we don't want him previewing user email content or doing cross-user restores, right? So we can customize the level of access that each user has. We also offer self-service access. So this would be if you wanted to allow end users to go in and restore or even go as far as exporting their own data. So again, this can be configured at the domain level, the org unit level, or individual user level. So we would see the account, and then we can choose to enable viewing of archives and restore, as well as enabling the export to PSD. If you want to take it a step further, you could allow the user to access Classroom archives as well. Lastly, we have an audit log. The audit log is a comprehensive log of all actions taken from the time that SysCloud was installed. So this is retained indefinitely. So you'll be able to see when users make setting changes, viewing of archives, as an example, restoring or exporting data. All of this activity is tracked in the audit log. Lastly, we'll jump back to the dashboard. The dashboard is the main homepage that you'll come into as an administrator when accessing SysCloud. It's going to give you additional data on the health of your backup, how much data in total is backed up, how many days your data has been protected, your admins. You'll get more information on recent restores. You'll see overall graphs regarding backup health status, any errors that may be happening that require your attention. And then what's pretty neat is if you come down a little bit further, this is our newest addition, our backup data insights. And what this does is it scans for data, potential threats within the organization. So if data has been encrypted with ransomware, if sensitive data has been shared out of the organization, this gives you visibility into all of these things. We'll take ransomware as an example. If we've identified, real threats here of encrypted data, for example, in Google Drive, you can come into SysCloud, you can see what data has been encrypted, who owns it, who it's been shared with, and then you can go as far as taking actions on it. So you can actually delete the data from the SysCloud archive as well as from Google Drive. So we're saying here, we're deleting our most recent snapshot that's been infected, and then we want to go and actually restore from a safe snapshot. This is the broad overview. If there's any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.